Hello, my friends and neighbors. I'm Michael Vasquez. I'm running for the Broome County Legislature for the 13th District. And I want to take a moment to speak with you. I know this is difficult times and it's still not quite safe to be able to meet everybody in person, but I want to take a moment to share some thoughts with you, especially about what happened this week. Something that was very troubling and I think is very important, not just for the 13th District, not just for the city of Binghamton, but for all of Broome County. A very important issue came up. Now, before I go to that, I want to take a little bit of time to just jump back in history and make sure we keep everything in context. So let's start back on June 8th. Actually, even before that. We've all seen that after George Floyd, there are protests that happen across the nation. And that's a good thing, because we all agree what happened to George Floyd was a bad thing. And after those protests, and sometimes even during, we saw some people, a small group of very bad people, went out and they committed rioting and they committed looting. One of those groups happened to take over part of the city of Seattle. They called it the Chaz, or now the CHOP, an autonomous zone that demanded that there be no police and other demands and claims that just are out of their minds, in my opinion. Now, that's important to understand because that message to defund the police started coming across the entire nation. We've been hearing it a lot lately. And in fact, we heard it in Minneapolis, where the city council members, they mentioned that they plan to defund and dismantle the city police. That was on June 8th. And then after that, we see also June 9th, Seattle's city council president is talking about radically reimagining, defunding, and dismantling the police. These are common themes that we hear over and over again. But what we also see is that, as an example, in Seattle, that autonomous zone, that cop-free zone, didn't wind up being the utopia that they initially promised it would be. In fact, what we see is there's violence there. We've heard about increased numbers of rape, domestic abuse, extortion, and of course, most recently, a lot of shootings, including a murder. Matter of fact, it got so bad that in Seattle, the mayor, who is a progressive, Mayor Durkin, supports the autonomous zone, the progressive ideas of Black Lives Matter and Progressive Leaders of Tomorrow, otherwise known as PLOT, and Antifa. And even she was forced to say that she has to remove and end this experiment, the socialist idea that we see in Seattle. It's so bad that even Joe Biden on June 8th came out and said that going along with the idea of Black Lives Matter on defunding the police, that it was a bad idea, that he recognized it was not good for any part of America. That's the Democratic presidential nominee. He said that. Now, I bring that all up for a very specific reason. Back on June 20th, Bob Weslar, my opponent, the current legislator for the 13th District, reposted and apparently supports the idea of defunding the police in Broome County, and maybe across the nation as well. This is a very surprising and troubling thought. He didn't say this publicly. He didn't tell everyone about this. He just very quietly put it on his Facebook page. And I guess he assumed no one would notice. But then on June 23rd, someone did notice. On June 23rd, on WNBF, we see that this was a subject that came up. And people were talking about it. And they weren't happy. In fact, Here is part of the recording, and you can go onto YouTube to the Vasquez for Broome YouTube page, where we have all 14 minutes and 51 seconds of every single person who spoke about defunding the police and Bob Weslar's support. Here's part of that conversation.
Okay, so I missed some of the calls this morning in conversations, and especially the part about defunding the police. Mm-hmm. Do people that they're saying, do they know that defund means like no police department? It doesn't mean a cut in budget. That means do away with the police department? Is that what people are saying?
You know, I didn't see the article, and that's what I had said before. I don't know what context it was put in, and I don't know how it was phrased, so I couldn't answer that.
Because I know someone brought that subject up with Bob a few weeks ago, and when I heard the word defund, that means they're gone. And so Bob explained to them, like, do you know what that means? Which is what I'm saying now. It's not a cut in budget. It's can you imagine not having a frickin' police department?
No, not one bit.
Okay, so, and you can go to the Facebook page and see that. You can go to the Vasquez for Broome Facebook page where we have that link, or you can go to our Vasquez for Broome YouTube page and you can listen to the entire 14 minutes of people talking about this. But the concern is there. It's there with the announcer, the host of the show. It's there with the constituents and your neighbors and myself. The answer is, this is extreme. This is progressive ideology, socialist ideology, and you may agree with it. But I think most people in the world would say, police are necessary. Maybe they need to be reformed. Maybe they need to be trained. Maybe we can improve it. And that's great. I'm all for improving our government, making it work better, making it work smarter. But dismantling, defunding, removing the police, that doesn't work. That's not because I don't think so. That's because presidential nominee Biden doesn't think so. That's because the mayor of Seattle doesn't think so. That's because our friends and neighbors don't think so. Now, what I would ask, very much so, is that Bob Weslar would go out and he would tell us what he actually thinks. But the problem is, Bob Weslar won't. Legislator Weslar, in finding out that people saw that he supports defunding the police, instead of responding publicly at any point in this week, rather than making a Facebook post and telling people what he thinks, instead, he's made his page private, as you can see right now. He's hidden all of his thoughts from the public. He won't let people know where he stands. He's put up 3 pictures and made sure that no one can know where he stands on this incredibly important issue for protecting the lives of constituents in Broome County. I'll tell you where I stand. I believe that police are important. They're an essential part of America. We can make them better. We can make them more effective. But we can't have a society without them. I support our police. I believe in our police. And I think they are an effective part of our community and that they have been doing a wonderful job. A job that gets very little thanks. But I think they are critical to our society. They're critical to our community. And I stand by them. I don't know where Bob Weslar stands. You should. This is important for our election. This is important for our lives and our community. I challenge you, Bob Weslar, please. I've already come out publicly. I've said it to the public several times. I want you to do the same. Where do you stand? Do you stand by the police, law and order, an organized, orderly society, or do you stand with the people who took over Seattle, the people who've had chaos, the people who want to disband and defund the police? It's a simple question. Don't hide your page. Open it up. Let people know. Give us an answer. And I look forward to hearing what you guys think. Everyone who's listening to this, share it out. Because I know there's coronavirus and we can't all meet up immediately and just talk about this. So send me your messages. Tell me you agree. Tell me if you disagree. Let me understand if you think we would be better with no police, or maybe reforming, retraining, improving our police. I tend to think we're all going to lean towards improving our police, not getting rid of them. I look forward to hearing what Bob Weslar has to say. I look forward to hearing your thoughts too. I'm Michael Vasquez. I'm running for the Broome County 13th District legislative seat. And I look forward to speaking with you more very soon. Thank you.